with Tone Talk.
This is Attorney Antonio Moore. I'm here to have a discussion today about several concepts that I've been tweeting about over the last 2 weeks. And just, I need to understand what you guys are doing with the Rubik's Cube of economics here in America. How are you like affording family? How are you projecting that ability to afford family? And do you understand whether you can afford your family? And that's going to be like kind of the question built around Barack Obama, who many of you guys voted for. Again, I need to understand, do you understand that Uber, and again, Uber comes about in March of 09. It's founded in March of 09. Obama is sworn in January of 09. These things don't happen without planning. So do you connect your kid driving gig jobs with your vote for Obama? I need to see that. Let's talk about it. So this is where I'll start, and when I say March of 09, you can see it right here. Founded March 09, founded Uber Technologies, March 09, presidential inauguration of Barack Obama, January 21st, 09. So less than 2 months after he's inaugurated, you have basically the rooting of the gig economy, the very gig economy that many of your families are suffocating under. And then at the same time, he basically stood against reparations and gave white people quantitative easing so they don't have to do them gig jobs in the same number or the same ratio, because he gave them money through the stocks instead of letting them collapse. But we all here now in the consequence, and we celebrating this. Okay. We celebrating that. They stuck on a photo of Obama. They remembering themselves on inauguration night. And we not really dealing with the consequence of inauguration night. Can we talk? Can we go back? Because everybody wants to move forward, but don't nobody want to go back. They was crying. They didn't understand ADOS. They didn't understand economics. They didn't have no political reason outside of he black and he gonna get elected. They didn't understand that they had already set up the gig jobs for you to work. You mess around and 70 to 80% of these people in this photo then work gig jobs, crying for Obama to get elected. Now, I'm not here as somebody who is Republican. I'm liberal, so don't try to put that on me. But I'm here to frame now a larger discussion, an economic discussion around the consequence of not understanding basic politics. Can I do that today? I think I can. So because I can, I'm going to do it. And I'm going to start here on a tweet that I put up. It is crazy how people have children that are economically collapsed driving Uber after college or doing gig jobs don't draw a line, how they don't draw a line directly back to Barack Obama. Directly back to Barack Obama. And the reason why I'm saying that, again, for those people that are politically less inclined, is January 09, Uber founded March 09. Okay. Someone knew he and his labor department would allow an attack on labor rights like we hadn't seen in 50 years. So all of the advantages that you built your identity on, that your grandma, who may have not even graduated from high school, was able to attain a house on, labor rights, civil rights, it's a scaling back during his presidency, during Biden, during Trump. It's a scaling back of labor rights like we've never seen in 50 to 75 years. That is what gig jobs are. Someone knew he and his labor department would allow an attack on labor rights. And when I say, and the oddity of the discussion sometimes with people who don't understand basics, like really basic stuff about politics, they'll say, he's just the president. Yeah, the president's the one that appoints the labor secretary. It's like, I'm talking about after college, they'll say that and think that made sense. So Tom Perez is his labor secretary. All they had to do was block the classification. Okay, Uber, you want to exist, you got to pay your employees, you got to do health insurance, you got to pay for insurance, and you got to provide them car with tires and brakes and everything else. That means your business can't exist because it's not a business. It's a tool for exploitation and get people liquidate their cars. But he didn't do that. Maybe they can't see it because then these people would have to admit how vacuously they approach voting. We just talked about that. Or they can't grasp race versus lineage, ADOS versus black, flat blackness, or as long as it's not them driving Uber at 1 a.m. by a bar, they don't know and they have a pension, then it's fine. So Grandma Fine, she ain't the one over there by Husky Busky Bar at 2:30 a.m. It's her college educated nephew, grandson. He over there, he better figure it out like she did. But her figuring it out was done on the backs of LBJ, of King, of so much politics going on that they put her in a position to figure it out. In the end, the truth is, it has left us with an under 40 generation with gig jobs, no health care, and that simply don't grasp risk. I work at home. How many of y'all work at home in the chat? Well, maybe home ain't for work because there ain't no boundary between work and home if you working at home. Huh? Talk about it. Working at home with no health insurance. Working at home with no health insurance means you can get just as sick and not have no care. I want to talk. Thank you so much, Sandra. Let's talk about it. In the end, the truth is the gig economy has left us with an under 40 generation that has no health care and that simply don't grasp risk. They cannot count socially. They do not understand economics. And that is what this show is about. I'm asking you today, how you paying for these families? And I would like for some people to call in and just explain the economics, because I believe what they've done is put a specific kind of economic craze in ADOS black families. And the reason why I say that is because largely ADOS working age people are without any wealth. The little wealth we have is in boomer pensions. We'll go over that in a second, and also their homes. So like you guys are pretending to mimic the top, I would say 40% of white America that's worth anywhere from $500,000-$600,000 in hard assets up, and then acting like you don't understand why it ain't working out. The last line of this tweet about Uber and Obama and lining up the dates and your vote is they think risk is business. You guys are taking guaranteed failed risk. What I mean, so Uber is set up where eventually somebody gonna throw up in that back seat. Eventually you're gonna get in some accident. You can't go by the bar at 2:30 a.m. too many times before you get in an accident looking for somebody you don't know. It's busy over there. That's why they ain't drive their car. Eventually, somebody gonna get shot, dropping people off that's behind them. It is a business where you are eventually setting up for some kind of failure. And the ultimate thing that's guaranteed is you're gonna burn through that car. Let's talk about it. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
This is Antonio from the Walk.
How you doing today?
I'm also all right, brother.
I have an image on screen. Let me and you can see it when it comes up. This is a economist back in 2018. It's 2023. It's far worse now. The reason why we know it's worse is because we follow the Federal Reserve data numbers. And in 2018, white people had about 100 trillion. They now have 140 trillion. What that means is that many of your contemporaries, if you are college educated, are living not just on labor and sometimes not on labor at all. That's the icing of their life. Transfers are the main part. And Obama, Trump, Biden, Clinton, Reagan gave it to them. So when you look at white America, they're now not at 100 trillion, they're at 140 trillion. Black America is near zero, and the little gains we've seen are in the pensions for the boomers and in the homes for the boomers. But an economist, Mort Charlotte, said this back in 2018 in the New York Times, and he was talking about 2010 to 2020. This is worse now. He said this is the decade in which wealth inequality has increased the most in U.S. history. And you, ADOS, in the middle of that. Go ahead. Give me your thoughts.
I did a video on my page saying that black men would never out hustle the U.S. printing press, right? And I did that video because I'm trying to explain to black people that we so used to the government subsidizing Fortune 500 companies. You got to understand that most of Walmart, 85% of Walmart employees receive food stamps.
Yeah, and so do the Uber drivers.
So
So do the Uber drivers.
Right.
But this is how crazy they
So
got us.
used to the government.
This is how crazy they got us. Watch this. And shout out to Laren. That's one. Shout out. We went to UCLA together. Thank you so much for the support. Thank you so much for the support. Hopefully you get some stuff out of this too as you share it around to many people that need this. Look at this. I got this mailer. I got this coupon mailer. I tweeted about it. It goes to your point. It got discounts because it's for the poor, working poor. I'm not gonna say abject poor, but it is for the poor. Reason we know it's for the poor is because they got a logo for WIC. Right next to Wix, they got Uber Eats, the same Uber Eats Diddy was using. They are creating a group that can't count. Uber Eats is an exploitation of you. So you're going to exploit yourself. But in addition, it ain't for you. This is an ultra luxury premium item. Think back to the 90s and people who had, other than pizza, food delivered to them. It is a premium item. They're going to put that next to WIC and then make you be able to talk to the poor about saving money. Go ahead.
You know, the funny thing about WIC is that it is in the farm bill. WIC is a food stamp. WIC, all that is a farm subsidy, something that they give wealthy, something they do to inflate prices for wealthy white farmers. See, so that's the whole thing we have to understand. With so much about this economic system works against Black people, and even like what I post on my video page, I might show my business, but people want you to talk about this mass amount of wealth and leave out the politics. And I try to send them to your page to get them to understand the difference. They don't understand that the tobacco companies, they might be as adversaries to each other, but they have a lobby group they put together to get their political interest done. They don't understand the politics that go behind so much business. So we out here thinking that you're going to work your way to success when they're getting the money directly from the print press.
Can we talk about it?
When you think about, okay, they did predatory lending your house, got you out of your housing, the overfinance your housing, created these bogus mortgages. They got the money directly from Freddie Mac and Freddie Mac, them federal government agencies, directly from the government. They live right off the hall, juicing you out your house. Can
I zoom in on something? Let me get in here because I want to get us to have a conversation back and forth. Can I zoom in to give context to what you're saying? When I talk about Barack, people say, what you mean? He gave us hope, right? Like he gave us the poster and everything. But when you zoom in now and look back, you can see exactly what I'm saying, exactly what this man is saying. When you look at the chart of white wealth, what do you see? You see a dip. What year is that dip? That dip is the financial collapse of 2007. What happens after that dip? Obama buoyed them with quantitative easing while not doing enough to protect Black homeowners. Obama made sure that they took off, but not took off at the same rate. They accelerated. So Obama, Trump, and Biden gave white folks anywhere from 50 to 75 trillion dollars in wealth, in addition to the wealth they already had. And Obama told us that we don't get reparations. It's right here, the dip. People say, well, what is he supposed to do? Let them collapse. Let them collapse. The same.
You gotta understand it. Right. You gotta understand it. If you save the bank, right, through predatory lending directly first to the Black community, please us out of our houses, please continuously overcharge us on interest rates, right? Then when we save the bank, who do they give the interest rates to? Who do they give the favorable interest rates to?
Well, people that have homes. People that have stocks, assets, white folk.
And they have their home. They give them the position to purchase your house, right, off a business plan for you to mobilize their retirement house that you live in, right? Then they create an empowerment zone. We give them tax cuts. Them tax cuts take money away from your school, the property tax to pay for your school and your house.
Wasn't that Nipsey and Charlemagne and T.I. with the empowerment zone support, and everybody said that's Black business? Man, look.
All of this
But at least Charlemagne T.I. gonna get a good picture.
Mortgage off of that you couldn't afford to live, that you couldn't get a business plan to own the house for.
Look, let me ask you this. Because I gotta get going. Somebody want to know your page name, because I'm gonna let you go because I got a queue, and then give your page name so people can go to it, support you.
At unapologetically black 4209.
Put it in the chat. And then maybe they can share it. Thanks so much, bro. You will bring that fire.
Okay.
Sorry, I didn't realize you were going to say one more thing. Look, man, 310-388-3499. We're going to get into the nitty gritty, though. Let's get into the nitty gritty. We're going to talk about gig jobs, then we're going to move to cars. The reason we're going to move to cars is we're going to revisit you buying your teenager a car. And I need to understand the economics. Gig jobs are a large part of the legacy of President Barack Obama. Uber, Grubhub, Lyft. This is the craze that's being set out. They have a premium service of food delivery by Uber Eats next to the WIC logo in a coupon mailer. 20% of New York drivers for apps like Uber have had to rely on food stamps. That's a separate article. They making it so you can't count. So I need to understand what's going on. I need to know the economics of things. I need to know what's going on with people. She was pregnant and broke. She signed up for Uber and fell into debt. Washington Post back in 2017. Another man wrote an article, the gig economy is white people discovering servants. So they're going to get rid of slavery. They ain't going to give us no reparations. Wait 80 to 100 years. Bring in this Kenyan and white president. He going to be the face of a new kind of servant class that you choose to do because you don't have no assets because they didn't give you no reparations. Can we talk about it? At least he got a family and millions of dollars that your family's supposed to have. And he did politics for his white side of his family that he grew up under. And we'll talk about more of that. But I mean, I don't know what you guys have been doing. Can we get to it? Can we talk? Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
This is V Brown. I'm calling from Bay Area, California.
What up, V?
How you doing?
I'm all right. I got a tweet here that gives us a framework of the craze that came out of Barack Obama and his presidency, the total misunderstanding of race that comes out of what I call the decadent veil of black celebrity, giving a false narrative on wealth sharing. And it came under one of Yvette's tweets. But I went back and forth with this white man. Now, I don't know him, but I know that he got a field behind him in a lot of vehicles. And what he was trying to perpetuate or push out to you guys was a narrative that's quite normal, that we all struggling. But struggle is relative, V. What he said is not saying there isn't a wealth gap, but it's important to remember how the top 1% in this country skew the data. Fun fact, the bottom half of black households and bottom half of white households share this statistic. They have zero savings. It sound good. It sound right. What are you doing here? So go ahead first, and then we'll get into the tweet.
Okay, so I am the poster child. So I'm a boomer. I'm born in 1962. I have a small pension. We did lose our home in 2008 under Obama, so I don't have that. And as far as the car, like I'm driving a 2015 Chevy truck that I'm not paid for. I think I'm gonna pay it off in 2025. But we did buy my son a car and got him a used car. But I wasn't able to put him. I could put the car on my insurance, but when I put him on there, it tripled. I had to pull him off.
Okay, so you get into the nitty gritty of the other part of the show. So let's go jump on over there, and then we'll come back. Yeah, it's all right. We all together. So she's talking about this right here. So there was a third part of the show that we're going to push to second. We're going to do the white man's tweet last. So let me read the tweet that I put out. So in 2023, the average American family of any race can't afford a car. This is an actual article that lays it out. I actually say go watch the Car Edge channel where they inform people all the time about the realities of cars, and it gives you a framework on assets as a whole, what's going on. The average American can no longer afford a new car. The average transaction price of a new vehicle is $32,000. See, for us, 32,000, 178,000, 1 million, all the numbers seem the same because we always looking at it against zero and potential. Let me say that again. Because we live against zero and potential, this number don't look large. It ain't a million. No, that number is 32,000. For the last few years, Americans have been buying higher content like cars, meaning Apple CarPlay, Windows Roll Down, which are cars and trucks packed with features and accessories. The one problem here is that the average U.S. household can't afford that price. And when they say the average U.S. household, they're talking about the white family, and we'll get into a second, on average is worth $1 million, but at the median, which is the middle, is worth $185,000, $190,000. For black folks, only 5% of us, almost all boomers, break 350. So they're not even talking about us when they say the people that can't afford a car, not a multiple cars in your household. So, and I'm coming to you, V. I just got to frame what we're talking about. So in 2023, the average American family of any race can't afford a car. And we know that includes white households worth $150,000 in hard assets and nominal liquid wealth. So they'll be worth 150 with the inheritance. They got 30,000 from grandma, and with the house then appreciated 45,000. They got 30,000 in an account, and they got 20,000 in a retirement, and they worth 150. This is the middle. Yet black working age people are saying they're going to buy a second or even third family car for their teenage children. Again, it is likely 80% of ADOS black working age families are wealthless. I think it's probably 80, maybe even 90% of working age, meaning black people that have families that are between 20 and 50 years old. We need to qualify the word buy. Financing a 2015 used car for your child on an 84, because they got 84-month loans. They used to only have 60, but they started increasing the time to make it so that you can buy this car. So you buying a car for 84 months, which is 6, 7, 8-year loan, and putting a bow on top for your baby. So financing a 2015 used car for your child on an 84 or 96-month loan is not really buying them a car. You didn't buy it yet. You agreed to start the first tiny step of buying it. Black Generation X millennial parents is showing an inability to understand basic American familial economics. And the other thing V is speaking to is here. I found a chart that I wanted to share with y'all. I do DUIs as a defense attorney, as a criminal defense attorney here in LA. DUIs are serious. Y'all got 18-year-olds and don't understand the risk, let alone the cost of letting them drive. It's in the actual insurance policies. These numbers don't come from anywhere. This is not race-based. They say 18-year-old with a recent ticket are $6,400 extra on your policy. You can have a DUI as a grown person and only have $3,600. That means that basically this is a luxury to have your 18-year-old drive. I apologize, V. I needed to set that up. Go ahead.
You're absolutely right. The numbers don't lie. I'm driving the 2015 car that I have to pay off before I retire. We got him the used. It's a nicer, older model, but it's used. And, I had to shut down his concept of he's going to drive his DoorDash. I shut that down really quick. Like, no, you're not going to do that with his car. And I had to explain to him, how the insurance thing works. But I did have to pull his name off in order to, and then keep the car on. So that the reality of what you're saying is right on time.
So let's break that down. So he's still living with you, or he don't live at the house no more?
He's with Dad. He's working, going to school online and driving his car. But so I have his car on my policy, but not him. And what they told me was when up to 24, when he gets 24, I can the price will go down. But right now he's just 20.
So let me say this, and I don't know if this is your situation. I don't know if this is your situation, but I'm not, and I'm not here to judge nobody. I just want to know, what are we doing with the economics? What I'm thinking, like a lot of black people are doing, is they're financing a 2015 for 96 months. Go watch Car Edge, and I'm gonna cut a clip in of them in a second so you can know what you're looking for. But the thing is, your warranty for that car is really already over. So the backside of your loan, you're going to be making a payment. On the backside of your loan, you're going to be making a payment, and you're going to have to fix the transmission. Now, the other part of it is just as important. And I'm saying the backside of your 84 month, that's supposed to tell you can't get that car. How can we make this payment? Well, we can make it 84 months. That means you can't get this car. You can't have a car. So now the other side of it is, if your child is 19 or 20 and living with you, and you ain't on the policy, you just having him drive uninsured. So you are sending an 18 or 19-year-old into the world and telling yourself we're gonna be all right because the car on the policy, and I guess you're gonna twist it and make yourself the driver and we can't live on instability. And I just
on a hope and a prayer.
On a hope and a prayer. And that's kind of the thing I wanted to get to. I don't think we are all grasping the financial craze that the thread on buying an extra car, and I was talking about the thread, I did a show a few months ago. All these black people were talking about buying an extra car for their kid. Lady said that he gonna have to be responsible and work, and they got mad. They said he ain't gonna go through what I go through. I don't know what era they live in. I know what era I live in. We'll talk about that in a second. The economics of our moment. I don't think we are all grasping the financial craze that the thread on buying an extra car for your kid exposed. It showed that a generation, particularly a generation of ADOS Black Americans, is totally disconnected from economics, V. We've been talking about it for months. Average people can't afford cars. Let me play this for you, V. Listen to this.
We've been talking about it for months. Average people can't afford to buy cars. And if they have to make a choice between putting food on their table and keeping a roof over their head, well, the car payment's going to come in third in that case.
Yep.
And so, yes, you will see delinquencies tick up because the middle class is being squeezed yet again.
And when he talk about the middle class, he's talking about white folks' worth of anywhere in hard assets from $150,000 to about $250,000 with inheritance coming. He's not talking about somebody that got no savings and got student loans. No. And I'll let you speak any more that you want to talk to. Did you see this chart about the insurance that I have posted?
I did not, but I will go back and look at it.
Yeah, basically it shows what it. Go ahead.
Right. So the last thing I want to say is I appreciate the work you guys are doing, because when we lost our home, going back to the beginning of the show, it didn't make sense to me until 2019 when you and Yvette came along. And also, as far as the car, if I hadn't, I'm halfway there, and I keep thinking if I hadn't, the money that I had invested in it so far, I would turn it in and just find me a nice, I just pay cash for a car, so I will have one. But I put so much money in it, I'm not sure what to do. Like, should I, because it's 2015, I already got lights going on the tire pressure.
Now let me ask you something, V. Now we come back and tie it back. You said that you shut down.
I got lights coming on.
Oh, on the car.
I don't even know.
Hello?
Yeah.
You talking to me?
I'm here.
Oh, okay. What I was gonna say is, okay, so we have two parts. The first part is a tweet I said goes to a Washington Post article that literally says, I'll call an Uber or 911 why Gen Z doesn't want to drive. In 97, 43% of 16-year-olds and 62% of 17-year-olds had driver's license. In 2020, those numbers have fallen to 25% and 45%. Well, part of it is because look at the expense on it. A clean record driving is $2,500 for a grown adult above 25. But for an 18-year-old with a single ticket, like a speeding ticket, it's $6,400. That means that's a luxury. Even having a teen driver in the home is largely a luxury in 2023. Let's put it in numbers. And we're not talking about letting them drive uninsured under the false idea they can live with you and not be on your policy. Your family should be nearing, I would say, about $600,000 in net worth. Top 30% of America, which is really white, top 30% of white America, I should say. Top 20% or so of America overall. But really, when I gave you the numbers, only 5% of black households make 350, primarily boomers. We don't even have a class of people who, we don't have any black people who should be doing this. But it's become normal to mimic white folks. We don't have reparations. You don't still get to mimic them without the consequence. Now we introduce and infuse the gig economy. So you got to now tell your child not to add risk. Understand, he's already a risk, V. Just having him, he don't understand that you ain't supposed to be driving, you're supposed to be walking. There's no grasp, the degree of it. But then he also wants to add risk and make it a commercial business under gig jobs to make some money. How do you feel about the gig economy and what Obama has left behind for us?
It's carnage. I mean, it's garbage. Just the fact that, I have a comedy job, so I have a union that he can do it without any, oversight. And, we are basically, driving for free, assuming all the risks and, all the liability and none of the benefits.
It shouldn't exist. And the fact that ADOS black folks were able to finally engage the advantages that white folks had set up around labor, and then to have this president who was elected under the auspices of being ADOS, then give it all back, it's absolutely crazy. And tell you can't get no assets, so you ain't part of the servant class, and y'all just sitting here still okay with it. And people will say, well, I'm not okay with it. What you doing about it? I know me, Yvette, I know what V is doing about it. I'm asking what you doing about it. And just telling me, well, I regret my vote. No, you didn't regret it. You just saying that because you in the chat. I need to understand. V, thank you so much for calling in.
All right, great show. Thanks, Tom.
We having a discussion today. I know it jumps around a bit. We're gonna finish that car, but we got to get back to this white man. This white man with all this field and these vehicles behind him. Not saying there isn't a wealth gap, but it's important to remember how the top 1% in this country skew the data. Fun fact, the bottom half of black. Give me the source of your fact or don't talk to me. I'll give you my source, Fed Reserve. I give you my source, the Federal Reserve Survey of Consumer Finances, U.S. government. Y'all better stop playing with me. I ain't the one. Hurt your feelings. You don't understand American economics. The 9.9% hold most of the wealth. There is a section of almost all white folks that are out here acting like they liberal, but living real conservative. Using Uber to discover they servants. So they don't have to have no slave because your baby is they servant through that gig job, through all this delivery of Amazon. Y'all think we get a lot of Amazon delivered? Watch a white folk. You don't understand yet? You don't understand the potentiality that you have in your head is over just because of the gig jobs? No, you don't get it. You don't understand American economics, the 9.9. So we talk about families worth probably about 2 million or more, but that's almost, again, 17% of white folks. The reason I know, and we'll talk about that in a second, is because I wrote an article on it. I wrote the first article with Matt Brunig that really pulled out the micro data from the Federal Reserve Survey of Consumer Finances and showed you the game. And we'll read that in a second. Well, actually, let's read it now. Without the family car, black wealth barely exists. This is 2016, so this data reflects that moment. I'm just giving you some context. Median black wealth drops to $4,000 if you exclude $4,000 if you exclude the vehicles. But if you exclude all of the clothes and the TV, that shouldn't be in there either. It dropped to $2,000. When we exclude the family car, we get a somewhat different wealth narrative than the one being told across media platforms nationally. Without the family car, the middle black family has a net worth of $4,000. So they give you a number, the Washington Post. They give you a number, the U.S. government. They give you a number, the New York Times. And they say black folks are worth $17,000 and white folks are worth $188. But they don't tell you that $20,000 of that is car for the white folks and that $15,000 of it is car for black folks. Car shouldn't be excluded, but they gotta fix it somehow. They got to make it look closer, because if it look any like this, like the real numbers, you're going to have a problem. The middle white American family, in contrast, is still worth $140,000. This means using an accounting model that more accurately excludes the family car, the median white family is worth over 33 times that of the median black family. So the middle white family that's worth 33 times that of a black family can't buy their first car, and you gonna buy your teenager the second or third car in your household. Where they do that? That is what I want to know. I want to know, you guys are out here with 3, 4, 2 kids, and you promising them that you're going to make them upper class white. How you going to do that? Do you got a political plan? Is there some kind of aberrational inheritance coming? Somehow you got to tell me something other than you going to make money driving Uber, or you got a business plan for the future. Listen to this from this article. There's a similar, this article that I wrote with Matt Brunick. There's a similarly daunting gap between black families at the 99th percentile of all black families and white counterparts. The 99th percentile black family is worth a mere $1.5 million, while the 99% white family is worth over $12 million. This means over 870,000 white families have a net worth above $12 million. Out of the 20 million black families in America, fewer than 380,000 even worth a single $1 million. By comparison, over 13 million of the total 85 million white families are millionaires or better. That 13 million is what I just told you. That's what I just told you about in that top section of America. So you mimicking that 13 million families that are worth $2 million ain't got to give $1 to grandma. They expect everything from their daddy. And you out here trying to pretend. I want to talk about it. We playing house, and this is where this come from. He don't know. He don't know. Stop looking at somebody because they old and thinking that they know. He know less than an apple. He don't know what's going on. He about lost as an apple. You don't understand American economics. The 9.9, that's that 13 million families hold the most wealth. And the most wealth. Let me say it again. Not the 0.1, not the 1, the whole 10. The whole 10 of the whole 13 million white families. The 9.9 hold the most wealth in the United States. What is this chart, Tom? What are you showing me? I need you to understand economics to talk to me anymore. You can't even understand being black or white in America until you understand this chart. You can't understand what I'm talking about until you understand this chart. And you might not be able to understand this chart, so then you just got to be quiet. So there's 3 lines. There's this kind of grayish brown line, and that is the 0.1. There's the black line, which is the bottom 90%. And then there's a gold line that is the 9.9. So basically the 9.9 are worth about like 2 million or so families, households or more. And the 1.1 is start when you break up into like 15 million or so. Well, if you look, this is the Depression. That's when those lines crossed, and the 0.1 were taking home the same amount of wealth as the 9.9. During the course of your grandmama's life, during the course of your mama's life, policy, labor rights, civil rights, led to a position where the top 90 got to a place where almost taking home 40% of the wealth when Reagan is elected. Since your life started right around when Reagan elected, it went the other way. It has crossed. You're now living in a world where it's just impossible damn near to amass assets. I don't care what financial literacy cards you study. I don't care what class you take to amass assets if you are not part of this brown line, this gray brown line, or this gold line, which is being white without policy. I need you to see it because they crossed again, and then the 9.9 is this group, and they have most of the wealth. Ain't nobody telling you. The gig economy is set up to service the 9.9 and this 0.1. Now, let me tell you one more thing about this black line. Is everybody with me? Is everybody with me? I want to make sure everybody is with me because I don't want to be talking and you can't hear me. You don't understand. Is everybody in class this morning? This 90% line, the middle point is probably about $140,000 in overall assets. Do you have student loans you haven't paid off because you can't? Do you have credit card debt? Have you filed bankruptcy because you behind? You ain't in just the bottom 90. So there's 3 lines. You're not just in the lowest line. You're on the crust of the black line. Almost all of Black America almost all of working age Black America is at the bottom part of this black line. So they need a fourth line where we just like ain't in the picture. But this man telling us that white folks and Black folks are the same, and y'all don't understand. You better beat this man back. And I ain't talking about being physical. I'm talking about being intellectual. He comes back to my tweet. What tweet am I talking about? This 9.9 tweet. And he tried to reply, I agree. You don't agree with me because you would just be quiet if you agree with me. I agree that wealth does skew toward white households. Skew. So you agree with me and you saying skew. You don't agree with me. You don't know what you're talking about. I agree that wealth does skew toward white households, but most white households are not wealthy. I just told you 30% of them are worth $600,000 or more. 50% are worth $150,000 or more. Yeah, in a vacuum, you can make that argument. But Black households are abject poor. Outside of boomers, and a few boomers at that, Black households are abject poor. So I don't want to hear nothing about you not being mostly wealthy. Then y'all be related to each other. So it'd be one. So like what y'all don't understand because you don't have context for it is one white person be like struggling. And when I say struggling, worth 200,000 and they brother worth $4 million, he just ain't gave him no money. He has no context for our world where you don't have nothing. You done went to school. You finally make 110, but everybody in your family has nothing. Step above homeless level. And we don't even talk about it because we don't do no counting. Talking about buying a second and third car for their baby while they work at Walmart. Can I get to it? Can I talk about it? Woo-wee! We in here. I just want to give you a lesson. I understand that people don't. He said, White House live paycheck to paycheck as do have. We all the same. All right. You don't know what you're saying. Wealth doesn't skew white. Wealth is plainly white. That is the consequence of America's history. And that is the purpose of this show. So I wanted to ask the question. Thank you, V, for calling in to talk about what is the economics, because I still kind of don't understand the picture of how you pick up these kids and then y'all don't talk about, and y'all ain't nervous and we ain't really dealing with it because we gonna finagle. We gonna use 2 eggs instead of 6 eggs. The recipe say 4 eggs, and come on. You don't know what you're saying. Wealth doesn't skew white. Wealth is plainly white. That is the consequence of America's history. Hashtag ADOS, American Descendants of Slavery. Term me and Yvette coined to disaggregate this Black American group that we believe has collapsed. But we can look at the Federal Reserve number. Some of y'all have never seen this. This is from Q3. White America has $130 trillion at the end of Q3 2021. That's why I told you that the chart I showed you earlier that stopped at 100, it's not at 100 no more. I want you to look at the categories. So this white man told us one thing, but he don't know these numbers. This white man that's old told us one thing, but he don't know these numbers. Don't talk to me till you know these numbers. You look at pension and entitlements, it's 2.92 for Blacks. You look at real estate, it's 2.20. Everything else is in the billions. It's like, because it's trillions overall, but when it's point, that means that it's not nearly non-existent. White folks have nearly the same amount just in consumer durables, which is 5.45, as Black folks have in every category altogether, just in their clothes and their TVs. Can I say that again? Just in their clothes and their TVs, white folks have probably about the same amount of stuff as Black folks have in every category. Almost all of our stuff is in the hands of Black boomers, retirees that didn't even go to college largely. Just timing. No politics. Then they let people of color come in with Jesse Jackson, and they let him cry with Obama. And now what we have is we're locked out because we didn't do no politics, because they told us just vote for Obama because he's the first Black man. Didn't understand that he's actually Kenyan and white, so it don't matter that he's Black. Then he gave us the gig jobs, and they act like, go do a gig job because I ain't gonna help you out because there's something out there to do work, so you better do that work. I want to talk, but look at white categories. They got 35 trillion in corporate equity. That's the stocks. They got all the stocks. Let's go back up. He said, white man told us, white households skew toward whites. Well, skew towards whites. White households are not wealthy. Okay, that's what he told us, right? Skew. Is this a skew? So they got almost all the stocks. Pensions, they got 24 trillion in pensions. They got 12 trillion in private business. We don't even exist in private business. Let me say that again. This is the other side of the report I did with Duke professors, and that's up on Fortune. We don't exist in private business. There is no existence for Black people in private business without a large infusion of capital from federal government in the form of reparative justice. You just talking making bracelets off Amazon, or making anklets, or making wallets out of stuff that already got made in China, and you just overcharging. So we got $310 billion in business. They got 12.6 trillion. People be like, why are you comparing yourself to white folks? Ain't you gonna go on the internet and sell right against white folks? You gonna sell your fitness CD just in Black communities? Or you gonna be online? Because this is the market. They're setting the marketplace. Consumer durables. We spend too much. No, they spend, everybody be like Black spending power. Come on, man. You don't know the numbers. White America spends 9 trillion. They don't tell you that part. Your little 1.2 or whatever, they spend 9. They don't even tell you how much they spend because that don't even matter because they are making so much stuff. I want to talk about it today. I'm almost finished, but I need you to understand as we finish this video, as we get through this conversation, please support the channel. Press the like, share the video. ToneTalks.net to subscribe. The average used car loan interest rate is over 12%, and you people are stressing me out. What is this jalopnik? But he pulled it from the New York Times, and they pulled it from the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve's campaign to raise interest rates to fight inflation has made it harder and more expensive to buy cars. In December, the average used interest rate on used car loans was 12%. That means that ain't no buying no cars. But you driving, let's go back. Because of the Uber campaign and how ex-Obama aides helped sell the firm to the world, David Plouffe, you got Puffy with the Obama shirt. Because of Uber's infusion into society due to lobbying, she was pregnant and broke. She signed up for Uber. Y'all out here driving the little bit that you got to the ground. You can't replace it and don't even know because you ain't following nothing. So 12% interest is for somebody who has an average credit score. So an average credit score and a good down payment, a few $1,000s, you going in there getting 12.3. What you think you gonna get with your 600? 600. What you think you gonna get? A credit card. You gonna get a credit card payment on a used car on a 96-month loan, and you think that you making it in America? And you gonna do that on your second car too with your team, sending them out in the world. And you don't want to pay the $6,400 in insurance. He got 2 tickets now. What you doing here? I want everybody to understand that 12% is for people with an average score. Look at 67. Look at this. 67% of Americans are above a 670 FICO. This is according to TransUnion. When you add up these numbers, 67% are above a 670 FICO. But when you listen to this, more than 50% of white households had a FICO score above 700. Compared with only 21% of Black households. So you have no wealth and you have no FICO, but you're going to buy a second car when white folks that have $300,000 can't afford a first car. And that's the point of the show, to ask the question, what you doing? How can I make you responsible for your vote for Obama if you ain't responsible accounting for the economics of your own household? How can we make you claim the name ADOS if you ain't claimed the economics of your own household? I need to talk about it today because I just don't understand. And I know this is the decade in which wealth inequality has increased the most in U.S. history. And you don't even know what that means for your economics. This is Tone Talks. Please go to ToneTalks.net, subscribe, donate, share this video. I wanted to have this discussion. We needed to have it. Let's share it and get it out because people out here playing.